My parents chose their new family over me. So I moved in with my aunt. Now they want me back. So I, 16, moved in with my aunt at 15 because my parents remarried and had new families. My father married his mistress, who already had a son, and now they have a baby daughter. My mom remarried my stepdad and they had my half-sister. After all that, I became a secondary character in their life, and they looked forward to ship me off to other homes so they could pretend I did not exist and play happy family. After a year, I became fed up and started sleeping over more and more at other houses. And when home, I would never interact with anyone. Both my parents took that as a rebellious phase and would fight with me all the time. I wasn't a bad kid or a troubled one. Soon, I was labeled as the black sheep of the family. Every interaction with my parents became a lecture about my attitude and how well other kids behaved. I was just so fed up that I packed my shit and disappeared for a few days. I took a bus and went missing in action for 4 days. Of course, the police were called, and when I appeared again, I got another lecture. We got in a screaming match where they called me a disappointment. I told them I hated them. I called my aunt crying and she came to fetch me. In the car, I could hear how she was tearing my parents a new one. Neither of them tried to convince me of coming back home. We informed the respective authorities about my changed living condition, and my aunt is my current guardian. My parents' ways half-assed our contact, appearing only when it was convenient, sometimes giving me money, etc. Recently, they tried to build more contact up, but I'm not interested. I won a story writing contest and did not tell them, nor did I invite them to the celebration. And on the website where you can read my story, the thank you page goes to my aunt for loving me unconditionally. I did not invite my parents to my sweet 16th birthday. Basically, I'm no contact. I'm not interested in their lives or families or anything. Mom tried to meet up for my birthday, but we didn't. She got upset and called me crying, and I just didn't care. It was like listening to a TV character cry. It wasn't important. She isn't important to me anymore. Dad called me and said he was worried about me and how my reaction's not healthy. And again, I didn't care. As far as I'm concerned, my aunt is my only parent. She encourages that I build up my relationship to my parents again, but does not force me. Anyways, yesterday my parents pulled me out of school and invited me to eat at her old favorite place. Mom had tears in her eyes, and even Dad seemed hurt. They tried to apologize for their behavior and pleaded with me just to come back. I said no and left. I still resent them for choosing a new life over me, but I don't know if I'm being a pretty little petty a-hole or what to do now. I don't want them in my life, but would I be making the right choice? I don't know. Edit. You know when you're at a friend's house when their parents don't particularly like you, and you feel tense all the time, you feel like you shouldn't be there? That was the feeling I constantly had at their house. I know that my stepfather doesn't like me that much. My parents would both fight about who keeps me longer, but not in the sense of I want to have her longer, but the sense of I took her last weekend, it's your turn. Also, planning fun activities for the day after I leave. My father and his wife would often schedule visits to the parks, or bigger trips specifically to the weeks my mother had me. And my mother and her husband would leave me alone at home so they could go out with the baby. Every chance they got, they would ship me to grandma's or aunt's place with some excuse, and then do family stuff. Also, when you went through the houses, there were barely any pictures of me. They had big-ass portraits of my siblings and them together, but almost none of me. They shipped me off to my grandma's and grandpa's for a whole summer and only called me twice. When there are family functions, I'm often not included. Example, my dad had a family barbecue and did not invite me. They forgot my birthday on more than one occasion, and when they remembered, they got me a $10 Starbucks gift card. And even when they know, I hate coffee. So no, they never straight up said it, but they don't hide it either. I think the aunt of this story is the real MVP. Here's a little bit of advice that I read from an original comment. It says, in terms of forgiving your parents, it's a decision wholly to yourself with your aunt's advice. Trust her advice more than the decisions of strangers on the internet who do not know the intricacies of this situation. I think that's amazing advice. Here's a little update. It's a short update, but it covers a lot of things. Here we go. Well, it's been about 2 months since the post about my parents. Turns out, they're still selfish a-holes. They did not want me in their life because they suddenly felt remorse and guilt. But because my half-sister has health complications and needs a transplant. And apparently, which I'm not sure about this, I'm the only match. Which is wild because I've not even been tested. Can they just see that from my medical records? I'll visit my half-sister more and try to build a relationship with her, but I am done with my parents. My aunt has also given up on my parents, and we're currently looking into legal adoption. Thanks, guys, regardless. Well, it looks like OP made the right decision. And the aunt of this story cut contact as well, so you know things must have been bad. Our next story on the day is an Am I the A-hole story. Am I the a-hole for uninviting my mom to my wedding just because she borrowed my fiance's jewelry? Guys, this one is intense. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and let's check out story number 2 of the day. I'm a 27-year-old male, and I'm getting married to my fiance at the end of this month, August. We wanted it to be simple celebration due to our budget, and because we're moving into a bigger apartment and we're saving some money. We've already sent out invitations to everyone, including my family. My mom and my fiance get on well, but definitely not all the time. The problem I have with my mom is that she constantly tries to get her hands on things that belong to my fiance, especially jewelry. She says she sees a piece of jewelry my fiance buys and admires it and wants to try it on, then give it right back. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, she compliments my fiance for her good taste. However, sometimes mom would, quote, forget to give the stuff back till my fiance asks to give it back before she leaves our place. It bothers my fiance, understandably so. I sat mom down and told her to respect my fiance and her possessions, and she said she did not mean any harm or anything. Days ago, my mom came over to my place while me and my fiance were at work. My fiance got home first and figured someone was there since, well, mom didn't say she visited. Then my fiance discovered that the necklace her deceased mom left her for was gone from her closet. She called telling me the necklace was gone and could not find it anywhere. She also said it looked like someone was at the apartment while we were out because it was clean. I immediately figured mom was there. I just had a hunch, so I went to my parents' place to ask mom, and she said she hadn't left the home that morning. My dad said that's not true, and that mom said she was going over to my place. Mom then admitted going over to clean around a bit and use our internet for an hour. I asked her about my fiance's necklace, and she said she didn't see it. My dad said actually, he saw her try on a necklace in the bedroom after she came home. I blew up and told her if she won't tell me where she took my fiance's necklace, I would disinvite her from the wedding. I gave her 2 chances after she stalled, and she said finally that she borrowed the necklace for her friend's daughter wedding and planned to give it back. I sternly told her how ducked up that was, And now my fiance cannot even feel safe in her own home. Mom apologized and gave it back, but said my fiance should not fuss over it, since she'll give it back in a few days. But I demanded the spare key back and told her she was uninvited from my wedding. She started crying, calling me horrible for going as far as uninviting her, just because she borrowed a necklace, and promised to give it right back. She got others involved, but Dad said he'll stay out of the drama. My sister yelled at me, saying I overreacted and this was between mom and fiance. I had to leave after the argument because of the pressure. My fiance did not say anything, but my family are all saying I overreacted and I either reinvite mom or they're not coming to the wedding. I have to say, not the a-hole. This mother not only lied once, not only lied twice, but got caught in multiple deceitful and hurtful lies, and I think that she's straight up a thief. Let me know how you guys would handle this in the comment section down below. Would you cut the mother off, or would you give her another chance and try to get to the bottom of why she's doing this? Let me know in the comment section. And the final story of the day. Would I be the a-hole if I did not give up my honeymoon villa to my grandparents? Guys, here's another great one. Let's get right to it. My family's Asian and my husband's side is white. My husband and I got married and are treating his side of the family, and my side, to a 1-week all-expense-paid vacation to Bora Bora as a pre-family honeymoon before going off to our real one. We were able to rent out half of the side of bungalows, and only one villa was in that section. My husband and I took the villa. The bungalows are a 1,000 square foot, 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, and an outdoor space type of style. We made sure everyone was accommodated for and everyone had a comfortable living situation. Our villa is at 4,000 square foot, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, including a sauna, living room, and grand outdoor space with an indoor bathtub, and also a pool that slides into the ocean. We've not even made it to a whole 24 hours here yet, and a fight has already broken out. During dinner, my cousin mentioned wanting to come over and use our slide. My grandparents asked what were we talking about, and asked to see pictures of our room. Well, they saw my villa and demanded that we trade rooms within, as no quote elder should be made to live as a slave and live as peasants while their grandchildren get a nice luxury room. This is Bora Bora we're talking about. No one here is a freaking peasant. There was only one villa available in our section. Had I have given it to my parents, I think it would have been offensive to my husband's grandparents. If there was 3, we would have given it to both grandparents and one for ourselves. But unfortunately, there wasn't. I mentioned this and they still demanded the villa. I obviously objected and said I felt as though my husband and I should have that room, as this is a family vacation with family to celebrate our marriage. Plus, we paid for this entire trip, no? Wouldn't one just sit back and be grateful they're on a free, all-expense-paid vacation without complaining? My grandparents freaked out, saying I'm holding money above their head and that I'm being disrespectful and not following their orders. They stormed off after threatening to take the first flight out tomorrow. I don't know what to do. My side of the family's telling me to just give them the room to be respectful and bring peace to the family, while my husband's side thinks my grandparents are batshit crazy. And I agree, they are being ridiculous. All I wanted was both sides of the family to get together and get to know each other. Now it's all falling apart. I don't think I'm the a-hole, but I've been up all night thinking what I should do just to squash it, and invite my grandparents to stay in my villa in order for them not to leave. But another part of me just wants me to tell them to go duck themselves for making my honeymoon about themselves, just like they do with everything. So guys, what do I do? Would I be the a-hole if I denied giving up my villa? Drop your comments below, and here's an update. Even though I really wanted to be petty and tell them to duck right off, I decided it'd be better to kill them with kindness, so they have little to work with if they decide to spin it around and say I was disrespectful. During breakfast, my grandparents refused to show up if I was there. Everyone tried calling them. Nope. And I quote, "We're not coming because disrespectful granddaughter is there." After a lot of persuading and even having to send our baby cousin to their room to soften them up, they finally decided to come. I made the first conversation by asking if they looked at any flights to leave yet. They could forward the pay stub to my cell. They said they haven't looked yet, and that should be my job if I was kicking them out. I made sure they do. I was not kicking them out, but understood if they wanted to leave and offered to send some staff to their room to pack up their belongings so they could have a little more time to explore, or get their complimentary in-room massages that come with the bungalows. They kind of stopped eating and looked at each other in shock. Every time they threatened not to go anywhere, my family has always babied them and begged them not to leave and even offer money or extravagant gifts for them to stay. Well, I'm not doing that. I'll pay for their first flight back home, but I've already done enough accommodating on my own honeymoon. So there you have it. My grandparents weren't even planning to go home. They tried scaring me into begging them to stay, and I called their bluff like a poker pro. After breakfast, I found a flight leaving around 5 p.m., walked to the main desk to ask them to cancel reservations for that room for the rest of the trip and send staff to help pack. They also did not get their complimentary massage because the resort only offers that on 4-night stays, or longer. Staff came to help pack and they left half an hour ago. I'm currently in my villa de-stressing before dinner and some uncles come, and confide in me that they were sick and tired of the entitled grandparents have had since day one, and they were glad someone born into the family decided to speak up. My cousins came over and honestly could not care less my grandparents are gone. In their words, they kill the vibe. So everyone's happy right now and is using my slide before cleaning up for dinner. I'm happy I was able to stand up to my grandparents without being blatantly disrespectful. So guys, I have to say about this story, I'm not too familiar with Asian culture, but judging on a bunch of the comments, it was saying in Asian culture, you're supposed to give your parents or elderly ones the better of the situation. So knowing that, I can't really judge, but I would like an opinion from you guys, how you would have handled this situation if this was happening to you. It seemed the daughter, aka OP of the story, was okay with it, so let me know what you guys think. That's all the stories I have for you today. I hope each and every one of you have an amazing day. As always, Mr. Redito will be here tomorrow. Consider subscribing and, like always, smash that like button to support the channel. Have a great night.